Welcome to Tathastu ICS. My name is Rishi and today we are going to do an answer writing session on GS paper 3. In GS paper 3, we are going to do the answer writing session for internal security subject and we have chosen 2024 paper to do the answer writing session. So without wasting much time, let us begin with the first question. The question is, explain how narco-terrorism has emerged as a serious threat across the country. Suggest suitable measures to counter narco-terrorism. This question has to be attended in 150 words. That means it's a 10 marks question. Now, first of all, we'll try to deconstruct the question कि question की demand क्या है, question पूछना क्या क्या चाह रहा है, क्या क्या इस question के keywords हैं. तो जैसे पहली बात, explain how the narco-terrorism. तो सबसे पहली चीज जो आपको समझनी है कि इस question में आपको explain करने के लिए बोल रहा है. Explain का बहुत simple सा फंडा है कि जब भी question में explain आ रहा है, what we only need to focus is on the main features. जो भी इस question के the main agenda is, we are going to only discuss the main features of that the theme. Now, क्या theme क्या है? How narco-terrorism has emerged as a serious threat. तो narco-terrorism. So what is the main theme? The main theme is narco-terrorism. तो narco-terrorism के बारे में main features हमने इस question में लिख रहे हैं. Narco-terrorism, जैसे हमें पता है, it is a combination of two words, that is narcotics and terrorism. Narcotics and terrorism. तो नार्कोटिक्स का मतलब है कि ड्रग्स, जब हम ड्रग्स स्मगलिंग करते हैं. नार्कोटिक्स प्लस टेररिज्म. तो नार्कोटिक्स में हम करते हैं बात ड्रग्स स्मगलिंग की या ड्रग्स ट्रैफिकिंग की, और टेररिज्म में हम करते हैं बात वायलेंस ऑन सिविलियंस की. तो जब ये दोनों फैक्टर्स कंबाइन कर जाते हैं, देन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट नार्को टेररिज्म. सो मेन थीम इज नार्को टेररिज्म. अब व्हाट डू वी हैव टू एक्सप्लेन इट, दैट हाउ हैज नार्को टेररिज्म बिकम अ सीरियस थ्रेट. हाउ हैज नार्को टेररिज्म बिकम अ सीरियस थ्रेट में what we are going to understand is that how did actually narco-terrorism started, what are the causes. अब हमने टेररिज्म के कॉज नहीं देने, हमने ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग भी कॉज नहीं देने, हमने नार्को टेररिज्म के कॉज देने कि नार्को टेररिज्म क्यों हो रहा है इंडिया में, what are the factors that are leading to narco terrorism, and also explain what are the consequences of narco terrorism. तभी तो we will understand what are the serious threats across the country, why it has become a threat, because it is having certain negative consequences. तो हमने cause और consequence दोनों बताना है. तो पहले हम narco terrorism explain करेंगे, then we will in few points we will explain the causes, and in few points we will explain the consequences. The second part is suggest suitable measures to counter narco terrorism. Suitable measures to counter narco terrorism means what are the government initiatives, taken to reduce, to counter, to fight against narco terrorism. So these are the three main aspects that we have to cover in this question. All these things have to be done in 150 words. And a 150 word answer can be attempted in 7 minutes. So without wasting much time, on the spot, अभी के अभी हम और आप दोनों एक साथ 7 मिनट के अंदर ये क्वेश्चन को अटेम्प्ट करेंगे. I am giving you a time of 7 minutes for you to attempt this question. After you attempt this question, we will come back and understand what are the key points that should have been included in this question. So your time starts now. I hope you have attended this question. So now let us understand what are the key points that should have been included. So starting from the very first thing, that how to introduce what should be the introduction of this question. So we can start by simply explaining that what is narco-terrorism. What is narco-terrorism? That is the use of drug trafficking, to finance terrorism. तो terrorism करने के लिए आपको पैसा चाहिए. You need money to buy weapons, you need money to train, you need money to carry out logistical operations. Terrorism के अंदर ये सारे पैसे इन सब जगह पे लगते हैं. Where is the money coming from? By drug trafficking. So it is a straightforward question of linkage between organized crime and terrorism. That is directly coming from the syllabus. Once you have introduced that what is narco-terrorism, then in the body we can introduce the causes of narco-terrorism. We can have the geographical factors. Geographical factors क्या होते हैं? For example, we know that there is presence of golden triangle as well as golden crescent. Then we also know that there is weak law enforcement. Then we also know that there is use of technology like drones. So there are several measures by which the drug trafficking is taking place. Using drug trafficking, the finance of drug trafficking is laundered. All of these things along with money laundering is converted into finance for terrorism. That is also known as terror finance. Then we will also include some kind of consequences. ये explain करने के लिए कि why it has become a serious threat. Why it has become a serious threat? Because it is having a direct impact on the economy of the country. It is diverting the youth of the country. It is having an impact on the FDI of the country. It is also creating law and order problem in the society. And obviously there is fear because of terrorism. So that would become the body. And finally, the very last, we have to conclude this answer. We have to give a conclusion in the positive form that what could be the measures that have to be used. So in the conclusion, we can use the measures. And what are the measures that have to be included? So we all know that there is Nasha Mukt Abhiyan. We can talk about the security forces. We can talk about the de-addiction centers. Now, so that's a basic point about how to attempt this question. Now, a very distinct, a very unique feature about this question, and in general for all of you to remember, is to identify certain push and pull factors. Sometimes there will be factors which will force you to enter into fields like narco-terrorism. Sometimes you will be attracted and pulled towards narco-terrorism. So there are push and pull factors. तो यहाँ पे push factor क्या है? The push factor is the supply of drugs. और यहाँ पे pull factor क्या है? the demand of drugs, that people are demanding drugs. So we can identify that what are the factors that leads to the demand of drug trafficking and terror financing, and what is the supply chain of the drug trafficking and terrorism. So in the measures, we should be highlighting 2 points. First point will be the supply side, how to stop the supply side. So we have to increase the border protection, we have to sign conventions and agreements with neighboring countries, we also have to we have to increase our intelligence sharing and communication between different agencies, we have to increase the stringency and strictness of our legal measures. And then the other is the demand side, that why are people demanding the use of drugs. The demand side can be checked by making the de-addiction centers, the Nasha Mukt Abhiyan, the awareness programs, the providing alternatives like psychedelic substances and all such things. So that's a basic introduction about this question. I hope you have understood how to deconstruct the question, how to identify the main keywords, and how to approach the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. I'll give you one more example. We'll discuss one more question and then we'll wind off this video. The second question talks about describe the context and salient features of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. So we all know that there's this one DPDP Act that came in 2023. So it is asking that what are the, so the question is simply asking, first it is saying describe, what do we mean by describe? So describe means again explain, and what explanation do we want? We want the main features, the most important features of the question. What is the question? That it wants the context. Context means background. Again, context means what is the need of DPDP Act. तो पहले तो हमने context बताना है. दूसरी चीज हमने बतानी salient features. What do we mean by salient features? The provisions that are there of this act. And what is the main theme? That is DPDP Act, Digital Personal Data Protection Act. So that is the main question. The main theme is DPDP Act. इसका context क्या है, यानी इसकी जरूरत क्या है? What was the need of the Indian Parliament to enact the law to protect the digital personal data? And then we have to talk about that what are the provisions, the main important provisions that are present in the DPDP Act. That is all that is this question asking. So very straightforward question. There is nothing much to break our heads upon. So again, this is a 150 word question for which I am going to give you 7 minutes. So you take 7 minutes, try to attempt this question, and then again, like before, we'll see what should be the key point that should have been included in this question. So your time starts now. I hope you have attempted this question. So now let us understand what should have been the key points. What should have been the key points? We'll first start again like as always the introduction. So what should have been the introduction for DPDP Act? The introduction could be again, so in the introduction we could use that what is the context, what is the need for in which the DPDP Act has been formed. So first of all we need to understand that why is personal data important? What is the need of personal data? कि डेटा पर्सनल डेटा होता क्या है, पर्सनल डेटा क्या होता है, how is it used? It is used by individuals, it is used by government, it is used by companies. So the data, the personal data of individuals can be used by themselves, जिनका डेटा है, can be used by government to provide services, can be used by the advertisement companies or other MNCs to give you goods and some kind of commodities. So in that context, the personal data exists in the society. Now at the same time, the point is that this personal data can also be misused, and create something known as cyber crimes. Some kind of cyber crimes can take place by misusing the personal data. तो दिस इज द कंटेक्स्ट. क्या जरूरत है कि पहले तो पर्सनल डेटा क्या होता है, फिर हमने बताया कि पर्सनल डेटा कहां यूज हो सकता है, तो हमने उसकी सिग्निफिकेंस बताई, फिर अब हम बता रहे हैं कि इस पर्सनल डेटा को मिसयूज भी किया जा सकता है और उससे हम साइबर अटैक्स भी कर सकते हैं. द आइडिया इज दैट इन दिस होल 2 or 3 points we have simply tried to introduce as well as explain that what is the need to have a digital personal data protection act. तो हमने इंट्रोडक्शन तो दे दिया. अब आते हैं मेन बॉडी पे. What should have been included in the main body? So in the main body we can simply say that what are the different features of DPDP Act. So what are the main features of DPDP Act? We know that there is a clear cut definition is there, that there is someone known as data principal. जिसका डेटा होता है उसको डेटा प्रिंसिपल बोलते हैं, जो डेटा को प्रोसेस करेगा उसको डेटा फिड्यूशरी बोलते हैं, जो डेटा स्टोर करेगा उसको डेटा सेंटर बोलते हैं. सो दे आर लाइक दिस, there are several keywords that have been defined in this act. Then there is another very important feature. The another important very feature is that the user, जो डेटा प्रिंसिपल है, has access and control over the use and control over the use of data. डेटा प्रिंसिपल चाहे तो अपना पर्सनल डेटा को डिलीट भी करवा सकता है. देन वी हैव सीन दैट देयर इज प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ प्राइवेसी, then we can say that there is provision of parental consent in case of processing data that belongs to children. Then we can say that for non-compliance, before that what we can say is that all the data centers, all the data fiduciaries have to protect and secure the personal data, of users to prevent any kind of breach, कि कोई डेटा चोरी ना कर ले. And for this, and if that is not happening, so there is non-compliance. If there is non-compliance or any of the above provisions are violated by the data fiduciary, जो बहुत महंगी कंपनियां होती हैं, so there is huge hefty fine on them. So these are some of the features that you can use, that you can highlight in the DPDP Act, which can explain the significance, that how it can protect the privacy, what can different things be done with the data, and what happens if the data is not secured. And finally, we will conclude we can give the conclusion by simply saying that there should be an appropriate balance in any country in any country there should be an appropriate balance between right to privacy. It is not an absolute right between right to privacy and the data utilization. How the data has to be used. How the data has to be used. That is data utilization and privacy. There should be an appropriate balance. You cannot always say that privacy comes first, because in cases of national security, privacy has to take a step back. So it is not an absolute right. Not an absolute right. Also, we can also give one more example in which we say that like global practices, like global trends, we can say that EU has also launched something known as General Data Protection Regime. We can also give some quotes like data is the new oil. Data is the new oil. So such quotes can be used to highlight the importance of data and therefore the protection of data. We can also give some factual information. Such as what is the need of India's digital economy? How much is the India's digital economy at the moment? What is the worth? How many people are employed? So such data can be fetched and given, can be remembered and written down in the answer. So this is another example to show you how you can attempt the internal security questions. It is very straightforward question. There is nothing much. It is directly coming from the syllabus. All you need to do is just remember the syllabus, cover the course and go for the answer writing. That is what this subject of internal security demands. There is nothing much, there is nothing complicated to it. Everything is coming from the syllabus, nothing is coming from out of the syllabus. Only thing that you need to do is cover the syllabus by-heartedly multiple times. So with this, I hope you have understood how to deconstruct a question, how to identify what are the keywords, and how to how to give points in the introduction, in the body and in the conclusion in a way that will help the examiner read less and understand more and therefore give you more marks. तो कम शब्दों में ज्यादा समझाने की प्रक्रिया ज्यादा फायदेमंद रहती है. Such sessions will be held more for you with one-on-one sessions with the expert faculties in Tathastu ICS program of Mains Maharat program. इस प्रोग्राम में आपको 1-to-1 फोकस तरीके से एक्सपर्ट फैकल्टीज के साथ आंसर राइटिंग सेशंस कराए जाएंगे ताकि आपका इन वन अटेम्प्ट 2025 मेंस एग्जामिनेशन क्लियर हो जाए. On this note, I invite you to join this program and I wish you all the very best. Thank you.